Welcome, everyone, to Let's Talk Real Estate Investing. In this series, we share experiences, knowledge, learnings from other real estate investing professionals and experts to help you build your personalized real estate investing strategy. If you enjoy this podcast, I ask that you hit that like button and subscribe so you can get notifications for all our new podcasts that are coming out. My name's Debbie Balfour, by the way, and I'm a real estate investing professional and a success coach. I coach my clients on how to build a personalized real estate investing strategy and scale efficiently so you can start enjoying financial freedom. But what we all want is time freedom. We're all unique, so our strategies should be unique. Today, I have the pleasure of chatting with Jacqueline Francis. Jacqueline is a real estate investor like us, and she's also a self image coach. And our topic today will be limitless living. A little bit about Jacqueline. As a self image and mindset coach, Jacqueline's dedicated to helping individuals unlock their full potential, overcoming limiting beliefs and creating lives that we love. We know that we all have this, all this potential in us, but we stop ourselves. So Jacqueline's going to talk a bit about that. As real estate investors, we really need that. We have these big, wonderful goals that we want to achieve, and Jacqueline will help us, get through those limiting beliefs. Through her signature program, her coaching program, she empowers clients to reprogram their subconscious, build confidence, and align with their most authentic selves. Expansion begins from within, is what Jacqueline says. So let's start chatting with Jacqueline. We're going to kick off. Jacqueline, tell us a bit about your journey in real estate and also tell us something funny about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, Debbie. Thank you so much for having me. This is going to be amazing. And my name is Jacqueline. I am a real estate investor and self-image coach. Started in real estate investing about 2016 and had an interesting journey there. Didn't do much with it. Decided to revisit the real estate world back in 2020. And that's when everything changed. That's when it was my husband and I that actually work together to build our real estate portfolio and our real estate networking uh, portfolio, as I mentioned, and everything else that has come along with it. And so by being in real estate, by understanding that you have to get out of your comfort zone, personal development started to shine this light in my life. And that's where I started to dive a little bit deeper into what are the things that hold us back? Like when I was first going to networking events, it was really scary. It felt so uneasy. It felt so uncomfortable. And in the beginning, my husband and I we would just stick to ourselves. Like we would not talk to anybody. It's like, okay, let's go have lunch now. Okay, where are we gonna stay for break? And these like random weird things that we thought we were doing. And then at one point we had to decide that we had to step out of our comfort zone. So being in a community of people that we got to watch that are doing great and incredible things helped us to elevate, helped us to realize just what I said. Let's get out of our comfort zones. Who can we be if we stop placing these limits on ourselves? Like, who cares if people are going to watch us? Who cares what other people think? And these incremental mindset shifts started to expand who we were, started to expand who I was.
Yeah, well, I love that too, Jacqueline. I think it's like it's surrounding yourself with the people who you want to become, like the people
Yeah.
who you want to become, because that inspires you. Because then you don't feel like you're weird when you're
No.
about to do something, right? So when you're watching, oh, they're doing it, well, why can't we? And you realize it's because we're blocking ourselves. Because if all these other people could do it, what makes us different?
Nothing.
We have the same blood running through us with the like brains and things like that. So it's just like, yeah, it's all in our minds, definitely. So
That's why, I even want to say with you even doing this podcast, even that alone, right? Like you could have said, look at all these people, I don't know, and had so much self-doubt. But no, you said, I can do something great. There are other people doing it. I have something to bring and share with the world. I'm going to step into this like like, I'm gonna step into this light and be able to do this podcast. So, like, congratulations to you too for
Mm,
starting this.
thank you. Yeah, I'm all about sharing knowledge, so I think that's what drives me. It's like it's not about me, it's about everyone else. And I think
Beautiful.
that's the other thing I like, it's that will help you is people overcome is if they make
Yeah.
it about other people, not just themselves.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. So
And that's a lot of what I've been told throughout my journey in coaching. I've done a few public speaking events and I've realized and learned that it's not about me. If
mhm.
I feel scared or nervous about something, I'm making it about
But
me.
it's
So
pride. It's
right?
pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
getting over that was huge as well. And this shows each level of growth that you experience in your life, you get to a different level. It's kind of like a
Mhm.
video game, right?
Yeah.
We go through level one to get to level two and so on and so on. And so this life that we're living, it's every time we've overcome something, we just get to a new level of it. And by being able to overcome the fear of being seen, a lot of people are afraid of being seen. Again, it's a limit we place on ourselves because we tell ourselves all these things that keep us small, that keep us in the dark. But when
Mhm.
we start to overcome them, we start to see how incredible we are. We start to see that
Mhm.
we have a voice, we have something to say, and it's who needs to hear it is the most important, not us. We have a message to deliver, so let's deliver it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Tell me about so what have you done so far in real estate investing? What
With
are
real
some of
estate
the
investing,
strategies that you've done?
so far it's been my husband and I own a 18 unit mixed use commercial property in Niagara Falls.
Mhm.
So that was a Burr project, okay? Buy, renovate, refinance,
Yeah, buy, renovate, rent, refinance.
yeah, all those R's.
All those
Um,
things, yeah.
we also have a multiplex in Niagara, another one. It's a 6 unit building in Niagara Falls as well.
Mhm.
So that also, the strategy that we used was the Burr method because it worked at that time when we purchased it.
Mhm.
We've done a little bit of private lending, and we recently got into building the house that I currently live in right now. And we see ourselves moving towards development and getting into like more of the construction side of it,
Mhm.
which is coming up in the near future. So we're kind of dabbling on what's the best use for us right now on
Yeah.
how we want to move forward.
I think the way Canada is going, the way the government is like all the regulations and everything around being a landlord, I think more and more people, including myself, are looking at small developments and, going from
Yes.
there because then you build it and then hand it off. Let somebody else take
Yes.
it.
Yes. And it's such a win-win though all around, right?
Yeah.
Financing is great. You have this brand new building, tenants love it, the banks love it, you love it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a bit of a longer strategy, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, just depending on what you're looking to build. But in the long run, I think it's so much more beneficial to be able to, when you do that, like you said, hand it off afterwards or hold on to it. It's
Yes,
really
or hold
what
on.
suits your lifestyle and what your goals are.
So that must have been to like I think for a lot of people, multifamily, like getting like 18 units and these larger ones must have been a a big mind shift for you
Yes.
too. Like it must have been scary,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So what are some of the emotions you guys went through when you were doing
Oh,
that?
yeah, definitely a lot of fear. At the time of the purchase of the 18 unit, we didn't take any courses to really understand the process. So we
Mm.
came in as joint ventures on the deal, which was great to learn from that experience. And from what we saw in the real estate world, it seemed like everybody eventually got to multifamily. Like that was the goal. Like you start off with maybe a condo, you start off with maybe like a duplex or triplex, single family home, and then seemed like everybody just eventually went to multi. So we were like, if we're able to, let's just jump straight into the multi. We had the opportunity to show up, we did it. And then after that, we're like, let's go and take a course to help us understand the entire process
Mhm.
of what it is like to own a multifamily, understand the Burr method, know what our ratios are. Most importantly, learn how to run numbers. That is the game changer, right? Because we can't
Mhm.
purchase any of these buildings if we don't understand what we're looking at. So understanding the pro forma, knowing how to make it work, understanding what a cap rate is, right? Being able to calculate that. So being able to get this information that we paid for, because you got to pay for the proximity of things that you want in your life to gain knowledge and to move you further ahead. We then bought our sixplex. So it wasn't large and it wasn't small. It was, I
Mhm.
think, the perfect size for us to manage. We still own it right now. We purchased it in 2021 and we gained a whole bunch of experience from there, right?
Yeah.
We became we became landlords.
Landlords, yeah.
We became, owners of a building that are now reliable for other people's living conditions, right? If we can sustain this incredible property, put in good tenants, put in systems that are going to work, we're going to have a great asset that's going to keep reproducing for us for as long as we want to keep it.
And then the experience you've gained and the processes you've created here, you can now repeat and go forward.
Exactly.
But I
The
think
people
that's
we've met, the relationships we've made.
yeah, you can use that again. You want to
Yes.
be able to it's kind of like the burr on that.
Yeah, I love it.
A burr on processes and people.
Rinse and repeat.
It's so yeah, but oh goodness, I thought of something and now I've totally forgotten it. Oh, you were saying about learning to run numbers, etc.
Yeah,
I whether you are the active partner or the passive partner, I think understanding what the process is for any strategy you're in, knowing how to run those numbers, understanding the terminology, I think that's really important, whether you're passive or active, right?
absolutely.
More knowledge is needed when you're active, but when you're getting into, even as a passive investor, you really should know what you're doing and how, is the person that you're partnering with, are they knowledgeable? Like
Yeah.
question, like on, you can ask the right questions and know whether this is for you or not. So you
Exactly. And then
really
you
need to
also
run.
get an overview of where you're putting your money. You understand what
Yes.
needs to happen with the building. You can also get that scope of timelines as well, right? And then check in with the partner. If this is a partnership, we're building this together, right? We need each other to move this project forward. And the
Mhm.
more like the passive person understands the process, it makes it also a lot smoother because you're
Mm.
not asking a thousand questions all the time because you're unsure. And then you have all these doubts about your partner because you don't want to have doubts about your partner if you're pretty much getting into this marriage with them for the next like 5 years or so.
Yeah, exactly. I always think of partnerships as a marriage, and you need to date. You need to get to know them, and then you need before the marriage. So definitely. So let's get into now our topic of you said we wanted to talk about limitless living. So tell me
Yes.
a bit about what does that mean?
Yeah. So this concept actually just came to me the other day. And I was thinking about, we all want freedom in our lives, whether it's through financial freedom. Most of the time it's financial freedom. You said time freedom, right? Sometimes the ability to love with no limits. So this idea of limitless living really is to be able to unlock something within yourself to know that you can have it all by shifting your mindset and most importantly, shifting your beliefs. So that way you can start removing the limits that you placed on yourself and start living this limitless life.
Oh, I love that. I want to be limitless.
Right? And we all are. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always areas in our life where you feel more freedom than others. So it's
Mhm.
like, why am I not feeling free in my finances? Why am I not feeling free to just go and move anywhere in the world? And if you think about that, right? Like You think about just packing up and going to another place, all of a sudden, immediately, you're like, "Oh, but this and that and this and this and this and this," and we create all of these, like, it's limits, it limits us.
Mhm.
But there are some people, and I'm sure you may know people like that, that are just like, "You know what? We're just gonna pack up and leave."
Yeah, I
And
love
they just
those
do it.
people, and I'm like, I wanna be more like that, there's some things that I'm like that too, I'm like, just jump in, I just
Yes,
jump right in, but then I think it's like and it's even some of those people that just will do these things, on other parts of their life, they are limiting.
yes,
So it's we all maybe have this there are parts of our lives that we can be more flexible
right.
and more open with ourselves with where we don't have as much limits and then other parts that we are right so I think that's great because I'm an action oriented person but then I think of myself then there's some things I like oh why I'm limiting myself like Facebook lives.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I will do this podcast over and over several times a day, right? All these things,
Wow.
and I have no problem with that. But to do a Facebook Live, I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I will do one, and I'll do one like 2 weeks in a row, maybe, and then there's a limit. It's super weird, right? So
Wow,
there's
that is so interesting. I would have never thought that.
yeah. So it's just, that's what I mean. I find for myself, there's like aspects that I can be, very more spontaneous and not put those limits, but then other aspects, other parts of my life that I am doing that.
So sometimes it's asking the questions like, what is it in the thing that's making me feel uncomfortable? Because
Mm-hmm.
if I know I can show up, right? What is creating me not being able to do this Facebook Live, right?
Yeah.
So then you just start to question that a little bit and see what comes up. Is it the fear of what other people will think? Yes, no, right? You'd be able to answer that. Is it because I don't think I know what I'm saying? So all these different reasons will come up. You just need to ask the questions and then start to rule out what
Mm-hmm.
it is. Once you kind of like gain that awareness of what it is, begin to shift it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you be talking about my case study here because yeah, it's exactly, there is, I think it is that fear of being like, I can't edit it.
Mm,
Like,
right.
I'm going to keep stumbling, those kind of things. How many ums and that sort of thing that I'm adding in. But when I'm having a conversation with someone, then I can be more natural, which is this podcast. But just having just myself there, I don't have that other person that I'm speaking to.
Oh, that's
That's I think
interesting.
that's
Okay.
that's the part that's yeah.
That's interesting. So it's almost like you feel that you need another person there to help yourself be natural,
Exactly, yeah.
right?
To be authentic, to be natural, yeah,
But
exactly.
what if I told you you already are all these things and you don't need anyone, right? So if you come with that energy on the live and you
Mm,
take a few minutes before you hop on and you set a little intention to yourself and be like, I'm going to show up as my most authentic self and I trust that everything that I say and I do in this live is going to be received by the person that needs to hear it. Like, what if you could just not fail? Like, there's no failing in this.
yeah,
And you set that intention and you just go live.
yep. Yeah. I will need to be doing that because I'm happy to stand in front of 300 people and talk, but this it's so weird. But just like
Yeah. And this is what I'm talking about, the limitless living. When we
yeah.
start to it doesn't have to
Mm.
be this, grand thing that you're doing, but start with small
More
things in
things
your
in your
life.
life. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Because our beliefs shape what we do every single day. So if somewhere in your mind, like you said, you have this this a, a little bit of fear of, okay, I can't edit this. Like, what if I say the wrong thing?
Mhm.
What if, and then you fill in the what ifs, and your mind is filling in the what ifs, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
by holding on to these beliefs, it's pulling you back from sometimes where you're needed to be,
Yeah.
which is showing up live, talking about the podcast, marketing it and saying, hey guys, like I do this incredible podcast, and then you talk all about it, right? Or whatever else that needs to be shared by you.
Yeah. That's
People need to
perfect.
hear you, Debbie. People need you.
Thank you. I mean, I do I do all my posts, right? So
Yeah.
I'm posting all the time. But yeah, I need to get out there and it's me. It's my information. So I should be sharing it like with my voice.
And nobody knows it
Mm.
better than you, right?
Yeah,
And
definitely.
even when you say something, like you slip up or like like we get too much in our heads about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you try to tell yourself over and over again, or let me give you an example. Don't think of an elephant. What's gonna happen?
You're gonna start thinking by the elephant. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So
Mm.
when you're like, okay, be careful what I'm saying, don't say this, and you're telling yourself all these things, you get more nervous
Mm-hmm.
within you. And then sometimes you'll be like, oh, I can't believe I said that, da da da. And then the blame starts to happen. You start to feel a little bit guilty. Oh, maybe I need to do that again. And like all of these fears start to pop up. Right. And it's okay because it's telling you and it's showing you where you need to work on.
Right.
It's showing you that, you know what? If I don't focus and give energy to the fact that I might slip up, I might say the wrong thing, I don't know who's listening, let me give energy to something else that I'm meant to say what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my coach one time and she said this several times, like, when you say something, you just have to trust that what you say is meant to be heard. It doesn't matter how it's going to come out.
Right.
Right? That trust in your ability to share is all that matters. And exactly how you say it is exactly how it's meant to be said.
No,
That's
I think
helped
that's
me.
beautiful. Yeah. And I love this. So the thing is, some of what I'm getting from you here is that what you said, it doesn't have to be something big, but as we practice these little things, as we look at the things that all the things that we are, that are holding us back, all the small things, and as we work on those small things, we start getting bigger and bigger, and we start practicing that way of thinking. It becomes a habit,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And you build momentum. And then sometimes you overcome one thing in your life and you notice that it's opened up doors for other things.
It has a domino effect, definitely.
Yes.
Because maybe that was the one thing that was the blocker,
Yeah.
right? That small thing, that what you thought was small is probably blocking the other.
Exactly. Like, think about real estate investing, right?
Mm.
Like, how many, even for yourself, like before getting into it, you'd hear things on the news, you hear people telling, don't invest in real estate, the stock, the this, the
I
that, the
thought it was only
market.
for the rich.
Yeah, or that, right? But we take the chance, we overcome something within ourselves in order to become something better.
Yeah.
We overcome a part of ourselves that we didn't think at the time we could overcome until the curiosity builds within us. And then we start to, take those incremental steps, get into a network of people that are doing the things that we're doing. Maybe we start becoming friends with people that have already done it. We take a class, we watch a video, and all of it builds momentum within us. And then we start to feel a lot more confident in our ability to then say, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm going to sign up with a coach that's going to help me learn about this real estate investment strategy. Hey, I think I'm ready to go out and buy that first property. I mean, think about that first time you were buying that property. Like us, we were so nervous going back and forth with the lawyer, and then it was like, finally, you guys closed, and we're like, oh my God, wow! Like it was such an incredible feeling, but it was so scary, right? It's an excited fear.
Yeah, definitely. So what are some of the typical things that people create obstacles, barriers for themselves, and how can they go about overcoming them?
Oh my God, what do they not create barriers over, right? I mean, fear of judgment, right? A lot of people fear what other people are going to think of them, whether it's their family, whether it's their partner, whether it's their friends or their circle of friends, right? I have to show up as a certain way because I fear that if I don't show up as my true self, people are not going to like me,
Mhm.
right? Not feeling worthy of things. I don't feel worthy of making $100,000 in my business. So I will then self-sabotage without even realizing what I'm doing and then say, oh, wow, I knew I couldn't do it. See, it's really hard. These self-fulfilling prophecies,
Mhm.
fear of failure, right? If I start something Even though I really, really want it, I know I'm really good at it, but what if I fail? Just that thought alone will stop people from creating incredible things that they should have done in their life. But it's crippling when you think about certain fears that you have, right? Public
Yeah.
speaking is another one. Doing a podcast, doing a live, like it's endless. The things that we as humans create in our lives
Mm-hmm.
that stop us from moving forward, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's like you said, like when you said the fear of failure, what if I fail? It's like what you said earlier. If you think about the elephant, if you say, don't think about the elephant, then you're gonna think about it. As soon as you say, what if I fail, then that's all you're thinking about.
But yeah,
What if I'm successful? What will that
right.
look like?
Like,
Yeah.
why does our minds automatically go to the negative?
Negative. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and I get it. Like we were, back in the day, thousand of years ago, I guess it's that primitive part of us that worried about the safety, that worried about, well, what if the bear is going to come, right? Like way
Yeah.
back. And part of us hasn't fully, I guess, caught up to, like, it's like that subconscious part of us hasn't fully caught up to the consciousness
Yeah.
of what we see daily, that life has evolved. Life is, people are going to be going to Mars. Like we are living in a day and age where there are barriers being broken every single day. But then there's that part of us that is so primitive that goes back to the worry, the fear, the doubt of all the things that keep us small, keep us from not moving forward.
So what are some techniques to overcome this?
Yeah, so that's huge. So it's almost like each person needs to ask themselves, are they ready to do the work? Because it's not easy to change, but at the same time, it can be easy depending on how you want to look at it and what you want for your life, right? Habits are created over time. So you've built a habit of looking at life in a certain way, of telling yourself certain things. So now you have to almost undo that habit and reprogram in a new habit, which will take a bit of time because sometimes if you think about your life, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 30 years of you being a certain way is not going to be an overnight of you
Yes.
completely changing, right?
Mm.
Or elevating or altering your speech to yourself, the way you look at life, the way you say things. So you have to give yourself some grace and you start incrementally. Like, what can you do today? So maybe it's, hey, let me write down what I would love my life to look like, and then you start putting in some of your goals, right? You can start
Mhm.
by reading that every single day, changing the energy within you from feeling like, oh, I'm never going to get anywhere. I'm never going to feel good about myself. And you start reading the thing that you wrote, and every day you start to feel a little bit more better about it. Hey, maybe I can, because it's through the repetition you start to change the thoughts, right? And the
Yeah.
habits. So when you start to tell yourself, so sometimes mirror affirmations. I don't know if you know what that is. You stand at the mirror, you write down a bunch of things about your life that are true for you.
Mhm.
Look into the mirror at your eyes and you say those statements with conviction and truth. And it's repetition.
Before I lost my home in the fire, I actually had on my mirror the
Oh,
things, yeah, my little sayings for the day. So literally when I was brushing my teeth, I bought
yes.
those washable window markers and I
Oh.
wrote it on my mirror.
So let me ask you a question. When you were in the mirror and you were saying those, right? Did you feel a shift in your body? Did you feel like, oh, hey, I feel really good right now after saying this?
Oh, definitely. Right. I think from when I first started, I felt kind of robotic, like I was
Yeah.
just doing it.
Yes.
But the more you do it, the more you feel it. You feel it, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
And
it
then
really
over
helps.
time, it starts to just become a part of you. Like it becomes so natural, like brushing your teeth.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
like, of course I'm incredible. Of course I can do this thing.
Yeah. The thing when I go into fear or what if or that failure thing, I think about all the things I've achieved today that I
I
never
love
had
that.
before.
Yes.
Right? And it's like, if I could have done this, why,
Yeah.
like even being a mother, that
Yeah,
was something that I aspired to do and I achieved it. So it's like
yeah,
we have goals that we don't really even realize when we think about where we are today
absolutely.
was a goal.
Yes, yes,
And
exactly.
what we have today was a goal. It was something even in our childhood that we wanted and we've now achieved. So
Yeah, and being a mother didn't come with an instruction manual or a
no, no,
coach.
I think it's the hardest. I think it's the hardest of any life. You go like because every child's different. So
Yes.
that's always my speech to, new mothers who say, "What advice do you have?" I said, "To follow your instinct. There's no manual and every
Yeah.
child's different."
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah, but I love that you said so I would also touch on that point and say, look for the evidence in your life, just like
Mhm.
you've done. Look for where you've overcome a challenge. Look for where you might have felt a little bit of the similar fear. It's not always going to be the same fear because every time we feel fear, it's because we haven't done the thing before, right?
Right.
But where
Yeah.
have you overcome another challenge in your life? And then you start to break down the steps. And just that thought alone and bringing that into your awareness can shift how you feel. Because you're like, wait, because you gain the momentum again. You gain a little bit more confidence
Mhm.
of just completely feeling fear struck. Because then you're giving yourself the permission and the ability to know that, hey, if I've done this, there's absolutely like 100% chance that I can do this. And then you start to open up something within you. And the minute you do, you start to see things start to fall in place. You'll meet someone, you will make a phone call, you will do the next thing that will lead you to eventually where you want to go.
The what I found is that when I start, it's quick to fall back into the bad habits too. But whenever I do that, whenever I decide to remove those barriers, I find like just opportunities start coming to me and like, where'd that come from? How did they know I just removed those barriers?
Oh my gosh, I love that. You see?
And, it's like
Yeah.
like how I didn't tell anybody I just removed those barriers, so what happened? And I think it
Yeah.
was probably always there. Those opportunities were probably coming to me. I was
Yeah.
just dismissing them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Because
Because
how else?
absolutely. Like sometimes it's switching the lens in which we see something that makes it appear so much more different, right? So,
Mhm.
like you said, you take the lens off of not being able to be good enough or not, being able to do the thing or whatever that is for you. And you start to look at it through a different lens of, hey, what if this is possible for me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can see myself. And you start to do some of that visualization process. You wrote down that you've already done it and you're reading it every single day. And then you start to see, yes, you can do it. Right. So,
Mhm.
how much do you want to overcome yourself in
Mhm.
order to move ahead?
I love what you just said. You wrote down that you've already done it. This is
Yeah.
key. I think
Yeah.
Bob Proctor always says for his ones,
Yes.
he said that you say, I am, the affirmation, I am happy and grateful
Yes.
that I am earning, six figures.
Yes.
That's your goal, but you write it as though you're doing it right now.
Exactly. Because
So
think about it. If
that's,
you're like, I want to earn, you're always going to keep wanting to earn.
yeah,
Right? But if you're like, I
love
have,
it.
I am doing, you're speaking in the present tense. And when you think about energy, there's no, and we think about like the mind, the subconscious mind does not know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. Okay. So
Hmm.
if you just like, for example, have you ever done that exercise where someone's ever told you to close your eyes and smell, like think about a lemon, think about walking to your fridge. What does that feel like? And all of a sudden your body starts creating, like your mouth is salivating and you start smelling the
Hmm.
lemon juice.
Hmm.
So that alone can tell you that we can create something that is completely imaginary, but can feel absolutely real.
So I've got to share with you this around that, but mine, it's a dream, right? So
Yeah.
I'll wake up from a dream, and in the dream, I had this big fight with my husband, and I get up from the dream, and I'm pissed off at my poor husband for something he did in my dream.
As if it was real.
The whole day, I'm like having to tell myself it was a dream, Debbie. Don't be angry with
Wow, you see how powerful you are, Debbie? Oh my goodness. So we have to be able to use that to like help us and elevate us and change us and know that like when we
our
think about we're
imagination.
always creating. So can you be intentional about what you're creating? Can
Hmm.
you start to become aware of things that you're saying out of your mouth, the thoughts that you're thinking, because thoughts are energy. It's just like out here around us,
Yeah,
floating everywhere that we just can't see, but we're putting it out there and it's bringing back to us the things that we're thinking, the things that we're saying, the things that we're feeling, right? So when
yeah,
you start to hold on to, an identity of somebody that you want to be, that you desire to be, and you start taking action from that identity, from that place of achievement, of success, of feeling really good every single day about everything in your life, doesn't matter where you are, you'll start to shift your entire world.
yeah. That's so powerful. I love it. I love your energy, Jacqueline. I love
Oh,
speaking
thank
to you. It's
you.
just like I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. What are those things that are holding me back? So, speaking of that, if someone wanted to start living limitless today, can you give us like three simple tips to get going?
Yes, okay. So definitely what I would say, three things that you can start right now is start to understand like what are the things in your life. First, you need to become aware of them because you can't change anything you're unaware of,
Mm.
right? So maybe list like 5 to 10 things that you have a fear of or that you want to do, but you haven't done yet. And then from that list, you start to go a little bit deeper and say, okay, if I don't feel that I can make $50,000 in my business. Well, what if I can? And then you can create a truth statement that says, I make $50,000 in my business. And you can do that for everything on the list, right? And with that, you start to then build an identity of yourself that you're not right now, but
Mhm.
you're moving into. So some of the things that I'm sharing, it's like, well, I want the strategy, I want the thing. But sometimes it's in the little things, it's in the writing down, it's in the visualization, it's in sometimes giving yourself some silence because we're so distracted all the time with all of the noise, all of the stimulation around us. We don't get quiet to hear the voice that needs to come through. And that is what's sometimes going to tell us, okay, you know what? No, you're not. You're this incredible human that's meant for greater things. Right.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, so doing some mirror work is so key as well, right? Can you stand in the mirror and really say, like, I love you to yourself? Right? Because
Mhm.
a lot more, when we start to build a lot more of the self love within us, it makes it easier then to start to feel worthy of things, start to
Yeah.
feel that we are limitless in just our own being, not being afraid of what other people think, and being able to be okay with exactly who we are and be authentic in our being.
I think
And get a coach.
yes, that will help you through that. Exactly. And hold you accountable to it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
and this
like
is
that.
what makes us slip back. If we're not dedicated to our growth and our personal journey and development, then it's so easy to get back in because those habits are so strong. Bob Proctor calls them our paradigms,
Yes.
right? And they can pull us back so easily. So, how are you going to move to that next stage of your life? Because we cannot always see what's in the review mirror, right? We have blind spots. So a coach can sometimes help you identify what those blind spots are.
Mhm.
Hold you accountable, so important. And that's what helps you move along faster than being able to do it on your own by yourself. Not that you
Definitely.
can't, it's just to speed up the process.
Yeah. We don't know what we don't know too.
Yeah.
So having somebody else asking us those questions, we do have the
Yeah.
answers within us, but
Yes.
but we just don't ask the right questions. So having that other person there to ask us those questions and go, oh, yeah. Oh,
Right?
what should I do? What am I thinking?
Or
Or
sometimes we don't want to face that it is us.
mhm,
Right? It's so easy. and I'm not gonna go too deep into this, but it's so easy to pull back the responsibility that we have and our part to play in things, because it's so easy to just be like, "Oh, the traffic light made me late. Oh, it was my husband that pissed me off. Oh, it was this thing, it was
Yeah,
that thing." It's all the things.
the government is
Yeah,
stopping us. Yeah,
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 yeah. And when
yeah,
you start to take
definitely.
responsibility and ownership of your life, you truly become the creator of it.
Yeah. Who was I speaking to? I think it was another podcast that I've done that recently and said, be the author of your life.
Oh, yes. I love that one.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yes. So we were talking about that.
And a lot of us
You,
are sitting in the
you
driver's
scripted.
seat,
Yep.
or a lot of us are not. We're sitting in the passenger seat, right?
90% of people are sitting in the
Yeah.
passenger seat and saying, "Ah, there's nothing I can
Okay.
do
There's
about it."
nothing exactly. Yeah, when there's so much that you can do. When
Ex-
you look within, and this is why, like for me, building a brand where my business is called Inner Expansion, you expand from within because nothing outside of you is going to give you the fulfillment and the joy that is going to be lasting. But once you start to shift what's internal, then everything else will expand. It will change right before your eyes, but
Mhm.
the work is done within.
Yeah. I love that. This is something like I've had a really tough year and a half, and I could have been gone the total opposite way and
Yeah,
disappear from life and all these
right.
things have happened to me. So it's definitely, I've had to tell myself everybody sees me as this like super positive person.
Yeah.
And I'm getting really great like support from everyone, but
Oh,
it isn't that I don't have times like when I go, God, why are you doing this to me? Right. And then I come
yeah,
back and go, there is a purpose. I'm going to learn from this,
yeah.
like, so, I can share this with other people. And that's what, of how, the things that's happened and how to overcome it or how to avoid it.
That's
Right.
beautiful, Debbie. Yeah. What is one thing in your life that you have done that has helped you to get where you are right now? When you have those moments of doubt, when you wake up and you're like, oh my goodness, like what is happening today?
Yeah. For me, mine is that I look at what I still have and that other people would be very jealous of me for having. There are other people that's, you know, okay, my house burnt down, but I still have alternate accommodations. I still have a roof over my head.
Yeah.
And the one thing that came back to me that like, okay, I lost my home in the fire and I was like, oh, I've lost everything. But because I had leveraged my home, I didn't lose everything. I still had 6 properties from that home.
Wow.
Right? So although that
Wow.
home's burnt down and was only worth 200,000, because I
Mhm.
had leveraged it and the HELOC's still there, like I had leveraged that home and had 6 properties. So I haven't lost everything.
No, wow, that is huge awareness, Debbie.
Yeah,
It's
but at
incredible.
first it was like, oh, I've lost everything, everything's
Yes.
gone. And then I'm no, I've got 6 properties. Mind you, I couldn't go into them because they were all rented, but
That's okay. None of that matters, but I like the way you were
yeah.
able to, and I mean, I'm not sure if it took time or not, but,
You did because you're facing trauma at the
yes,
time. So
exactly.
you do need to allow yourself to go
You
through
do.
that pain and say, yeah, yeah, life sucks right now. It's
Yeah.
not good that this has happened. But
You
then,
gotta feel the emotions,
yeah,
yeah.
but then
But then
over.
it came to you afterwards
Mhm.
that, "Hey, wait a second, you know what?" But that idea was given to you. It's like something unlocked within you to show you, "Hey, wait a second, you didn't lose everything.
Yep.
You have so much more than, what you thought you had."
And now I've rebuilt my home for with all the stuff that used to bug me with the home.
So
It's
so
no,
sometimes, I mean, even though you had to go through that period of darkness, it was almost a blessing in disguise
yeah,
because
we have our dream home now. Like
there,
it's
oh my gosh, that's incredible.
yeah, all
And
those visions that I would have loved to do this or would love to do that. So, so people are now when they're walking through and go, oh, who gave you this idea? Who gave you that idea? No one, me. It's been like firmer, like I've been manifesting it. I've been envisioning all these things in my home for a long time, and
oh
now
my
it's there.
gosh, and now it's there.
I
But
wouldn't recommend you burning down your home to get
no, no, no,
it.
no. But if we look at that process, sometimes we have to go through the darkness to see the light.
Yeah.
And we don't understand sometimes when we are going through that or when something challenging initially happens until we've stepped out of it, until we've overcome it.
Mhm.
We can only connect the dots in life looking backwards. So it's like, "Oh, wait a second. Well, if this tragic thing didn't happen, I wouldn't have been able to get this thing or
This
move to
thing,
this thing
yes.
or have this partner or whatever it is," right?
Yeah.
So we embrace like I've learned recently, like really very, very, very recently, is to start to embrace the challenges. And it can feel hard in the moment, but it's really asking, okay, you know, how could I be more connected to what's happening here? Because I know it's for a greater purpose.
It is it's really truly think just trusting that, and then
Yeah.
look, and like you said, look back at the past where things at the time seemed bad, or
Yeah.
the end of the world, and but something good came out of it. So
Yes.
that saying, when one door closes, um
Yes.
other windows open.
and
Right?
and doors.
The doors, yeah.
You're right. Yeah,
So, keeps the
exactly,
doors
exactly.
open. So,
I
I
love
think
that.
back to boyfriends that I've had in the past when I was devastated, and like it was the end of the world, and then and then it's like, oh my gosh, when you think back,
Ah,
it's so, I'm so happy that person's no
I
longer.
dodged that bullet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Now you guys are
beautiful.
finding out so much about me.
Oh, what an incredible time we're having, Debbie. Wow. So,
So, guys, join this podcast. Like, look, it's totally authentic. You don't have to worry. You don't have to, worry about being
yeah,
having it all perfect. We just have fun and on this. So, if anyone's interested in being a guest speaker, I hope this, relaxes you, and reach out to me and share your story. So Jacqueline, we could talk forever, but I do have to wrap it up. So you do have a free offer, a great free offer for everyone. So can you tell us about what that free offer is and how they can get it?
yes. So, I have created an ebook. It's more of like an e-guide on having unshakable confidence. So it's a step-by-step guide towards elevating your self-image so you can have unshakable confidence. And this ebook gives you tools and strategies and things that I've done myself that's helped me overcome some of the fears that I've had and that I still go back to. And I think it's a great guide for people getting started, for people that want to know ways that can help them in their day-to-day life. And it's small little shifts that you can take that doesn't take, a whole amount of your time because everyone's busy, everyone's got things to do, but that will make a huge impact in your life. And I can share that with you so you can share it to anyone that's going to listen to this podcast so it can bring and shed some light in your life.
Awesome. So we will pop up on the screen with this, how they can get that e-guide. And can you share with us some of your handles? Again, we will edit it in too, but if you can share with us some of your handles and how people can get in touch with you.
Yes. So my favorite place to hang out is Instagram. I think it's the most fabulous thing ever. I can be so creative and so much fun there. So it's IEC Jacqueline. And like you said, Debbie will have exactly the spelling down below. You can also find me on LinkedIn. It's just Jacqueline Francis, my first name and last name, as well as Facebook, which is Jacqueline Francis as well. So find me there, and I share a lot of what I am learning, what I'm going through, tips to overcome your judgments, overcome your beliefs, how you can change your mindset, how you can elevate your self-image. And join me on this journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Like I said, I'm pumped. I'm glad
Yeah,
that we've done this today, because it's getting me ready for a tough week ahead.
I love it. Thank you,
Uh,
Debbie. Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful.
So my pleasure. Thank you for taking your time to come out and share, your experience. And I love that it's things that you're doing that's changed your life, that others
Yeah.
can, if you're doing it and it's working, it can work for others. And I love that what Jacqueline is saying. It's the little things. I think we have to stop looking at, let's just jump, try to do the big things, like the little things that will get us there. It's like you can't jump up a whole flight of stairs. It's
Yeah,
always a step, a step, a step, and then you get there. So putting those
beautiful.
bite-sized things in each day, and reprogramming our mind.
Yes.
So thanks so much, Jacqueline. Really appreciate you. And like
Thank
once
you.
again, hit that like button and subscribe.